Welcome back to Tu-Vie, your TV movie entertainment news channel. Today, I'm going to be talking about What If Season 2. I know I'm a little late, but I wanted to give everybody a chance to actually watch the show. I also wanted to rewatch some episodes because they are just that good. So let's get into it. What If Season 2? I mean, whoa, what a change of formula. This show definitely first of all, the first season was awesome. I loved it. I know everyone maybe wasn't the biggest fan, and it felt like some of the stories maybe were kind of very simple and just flipping some small aspects of it. And this season though felt like a brand new show for the better. I think the obvious differences between this season and the last season was there was a lot less narration between the actual story and the watcher's perspective of what's going on. Because as you know, it tells in the show, he's guiding us through the vast multiverses, and we're being introduced to these new multiverses in these stories. But at the same time, it was also just really cool to read the title of the episode and then just go into that and see everything else unfold. Also, this season was vastly different than the previous one as they were releasing all 9 episodes of season 2 once per day leading to the end of the new year. Now, I kind of like that. It kind of got it all done and you kind of, get something to do every day. But I also liked how you didn't have to kind of wait week by week for these different things. And we're introduced to these numerous stories very quickly. Also, I got to mention that the animation and the writing definitely was an upgrade this season. I don't know what they put in the water there at Marvel to change how they did this animation, but they shouldn't change it because that's perfect. I want to first start off with saying what my favorite episode was, and it's truly a tie, but definitely the one that is what if Cohorty reshaped the world? That is easily the coolest, the most original, and truly the best written, best done, best animated. Everything about that episode was incredible. Not to also mention the fact that now we have a new Marvel character we get to be introduced to, but also how it explicitly was done to represent this kind of culture in this timeline of the part of the world. And so I liked how that episode was not done in English, other than maybe the parts the watcher was talking. But even then, I don't think he even said a few words. And I liked how it was all done through that native language for all the characters in the show. And Cohorty was also just a really cool character. I mean, they gave her the super speed, the pretty much powers of the Tesseract, and the like almost like a cosmic cube like powers absorption into this character and becomes seriously powerful, which then later is represented into my second favorite episode, which was the season finale. And this one was really cool because I felt like that episode could set up Secret Wars better than everything we have gotten so far. And I feel like the way that they shaped everything that Strange Supreme, I think that's what his name was, the evil Doctor Strange, who we saw in the first season, was setting up for. And I'm not going to go into detail of what any of these episodes were, but I want you guys to go watch them if you haven't seen it. If you have seen it, you know what I'm kind of talking about. But to kind of make things obvious while vague, it's the fact that they were able to go about the multiverse and introduce these different characters and different versions of these characters having kind of this sprawl and this brawl going about it. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to drive the plot of Secret Wars, but it does give them a sort of battle world like setting. And also, all the other episodes in this season was really just firing all pistons. I like how there was a holiday episode that was very similar to Die Hard, and the very first episode that was very Blade Runner was super cool. I'm a big Blade Runner fan, so kind of starting off the season like that maybe have swayed me in a little bit in my favor. But it was also a really cool story to see what if Nebula joined the Nova Corps is such a cool idea. One major thing I did like about the Christmas episode was that we brought back Justin Hammer, Sam Rockwell's character, a character I have been waiting to see since his mysterious disappear from the entire MCU. I know he went to jail in the end of Iron Man 2, but I mean, come on, that guy really he was gonna find a way to bust out or pay bail, whatever. I know he was gonna come back and get revenge on Tony. But it was really cool to see Sam Rockwell come back, still have that same attitude. I really do hope we bring back Justin Hammer ended back in the MCU for possibly Armor Wars. I know that I heard a rumor about that, but it was really good to see him in there. And I think an episode that isn't really talked about enough is the what if Hela, came to Earth instead of Thor. So a lot of what the show and the season did was combine multiple movies into a singular episode in terms of like storytelling. So we both, for the Hela episode, had the Thor movie where, instead of Thor being banished, it was Hela. And it also had a little bits of Thor Ragnarok while the hammer breaking. I think there was some other small moments in there. And we then also had Shang-Chi. It was a mix of movies because then she went to Tao Lo, she fought Wen Wu, and it was all these other different things that was super cool to see. That I would also like to see that character come back into the MCU. But that episode as a whole was really creative, kind of getting another look into Hela and how she is as a character and kind of seeing a different side of her that was interesting and had a really cool ending with it. I also know the fight scenes in that episode was pretty rad. Her working with Wen Wu and just having similar aspects to what Shang-Chi was like was really cool to see. And I also kind of liked how with some episodes they incorporated that time period for the idea. So like the episode where Peter Quill comes to Earth because Yondu gave him the ego at the young age when he was abducted from Earth. You had the Avengers at that time. So you had Marvel from Captain Marvel, you had Hank Pym Ant-Man, you had King T'Chaka, you had Goliath, which was Lawrence Fishburne's character from Ant-Man and the Wasp 2, and you also had the Winter Soldier at that time because he was still working with he was working for Hydra. So I thought that was kind of a really cool idea to then incorporate, different time period Avengers in there. So that was really fun to see that group kind of working together. I would also say that this season had a main character, which was Peggy Carter. Peggy Carter was a very big, heavy influence into the season as she was having so many different effects into the episodes. Again, I'm not going to go into spoilers on what happens in those episodes. I think you guys should check it out. But it was cool to see that they made Captain Carter, a character who we got very little with in live action, come into the second season as almost like a main character. And I believe it was, I think, the seventh or eighth episode. That's when they announced that they'll be doing a season 3 that's going to be coming really soon. And the only thing we've really gotten from that is something to do with the Winter Soldier, Red Guardian, Lawrence Fishburne's character from Ant-Man and the Wasp, and a new character who's going to be played by America Ferrera named Ranger Morales. Now, I know first thought he's going to be Miles Morales, but I don't know if that's an obvious connection. I think it's just a coincidental last name, as it's a very popular last name. But for Marvel's What If Season 2, I think this was a really cool thing that they added this year because I know Marvel has had a string of, ebb and flows, definitely, not in the more positive directions lately. But with the also new release of Echo, which is surprisingly good, and when I get done with that, there's going to be a review. But having this kind of breath of fresh air of creativity with What If Season 2 was really cool to see. And one thing that was supposed to happen last season that they got cut to for either for time or something that we briefly saw was Gamora if she was donning the Thanos armor. She had the sword and the armor very similar to Thanos from Infinity War, with a Tony in like a Hulkbuster suit that was very odd. We get to see that episode in this season. And it was really cool to kind of see these actual small events like what if Tony never made it home and how it could be affecting everything else from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I like this version of the what if storytelling rather than like kind of just these things you could understand how it could be working rather than actual like, oh, that's an actual like good thing. I don't know if that makes sense. Like in the first season where if what if we lost Earth's Mightiest Heroes because Hank Pym, I think like donned the yellow jacket armor, but Hank Pym was a bad guy and Hope had died is kind of not necessarily a stretch, but not necessarily as a simple thought of what if Tony never made it through the wormhole in the Avengers movie, which I can actually see that. Or I mean, but excluding the first season with what if T'Challa was Star Lord, that's a cool one. Overall, season 2 was a fantastic breath of fresh air for creativity, great writing, and great animation. I really do hope Marvel sticks with whatever they did for season 2 into season 3, and hopefully more seasons as more Marvel movies are coming out. One thing I also like to see for the What If series is a few of my what ifs. Starting off with what if Scott Lang got lost in the quantum realm? So it's essentially, the end of the first Ant-Man movie and he tried shrinking. What if he had the wrong one and shrunk down into the quantum realm and now was stuck there and Janet got back out? I also think I'm kind of interested to see what if Shuri didn't spare Namor's life? Kind of then into this flashpoint, Atlantis war. While I'm trying to say it's like the water coming to fight the land. Be interesting to see if Shuri never spared Namor. Or more importantly, with Spider-Man Far From Home, which is not a bad movie. What if Mysterio's plan worked? What if he ruined Spider-Man's life? What if he became the next Iron Man? That would be a cool one to see. Marvel, sign the contract now. Or I mean, I kind of like to go back to the zombies thing. I mean, I know they're doing a Marvel Zombies TV show, I believe is animated. I'd like to explore that a little more. Either way, I'm really excited that season 2 was an absolute success. I'm very excited for season 3. And comment below what your guys' favorite episode was. If you guys did enjoy, be sure to like and subscribe. Be also sure to check us out on TikTok, Instagram, and Letterboxd, all in the description below. And also be sure to check out the Tu-Vie podcast, our podcast. We have a new episode coming out very, very soon. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.